but 120 grand for a 30-second spot. There's no better advertisement for a university, folks, that has a big-time football program than going out on the field and winning. That's the real advertising that money can't buy. I guess my other thought, B, is at $120,000 for the tab. I mean, my three guys who produced this show, Tom Costello, Brian Johnston, Jim Connolly, they told me they would have done it for 1/10. 12 grand they would have done it for, and we would have had enough money left over to go across the street for lunch as well. As the CEO of the Devils, the Sixers, and the Prudential Center, Scott, you ever get up in the morning and think to yourself, what the hell am I doing today?
You know, it does happen to me occasionally the night before, not in the morning.
Hey, you think they're staying late tonight at the NFL offices in New York City? Methinks they are. Kind of reminds me of that line from one of the mobsters in the great movie The Departed when he says, "Mom, I won't be home in time for supper." Miller Buglieri, congratulations to you and to Pingree on a great milestone and a great career. And let's make a deal right now, shall we, that you'll come back again here on the Jersey Sports Rant when you win number 900, yes?
You're great. I appreciate so much. Thank you.
Pick up the phone, say hello, and in that Vin Scully unmistakable voice, he says, "Joey, this is Vin Scully calling from Los Angeles." I said, "Mr. Scully, it's an honor." He said, "Joey, I've had a lot of commitments that have popped up in the last few hours. I've got a very busy schedule, but I made a commitment and I wanted to honor it." And that, folks, you know, when they do it on Kelly and Michael in the morning, somehow usually goes a lot smoother than that, I think. I covered these open tryouts that you have every year before the season starts. Guys off the street looking for that big break, and after watching a bunch of guys throw and watching you watch them throw, I remember I turned to you and I said, "Sparky, you know who I think the best pitcher is out here?" And you said, "Who?" And I said, "You are." Even now.
Well, I'll tell you what, you were 100% right that day. I'll tell you.
Joetta's father is the man who was portrayed years ago, 1989 to be exact, Joe Clark, as the tough, hard-nosed principal at Newark Eastside, walking the halls with the baseball bat. He didn't do that at home, did he?
Of course not. My mother wouldn't tolerate that.
You know, when Eli Manning won his second Super Bowl ring, a lot of Giant fans said to me, he now gets a pass forever. I said, forever? They said, he could play poorly forever. I've got my 2 rings. I'm good. Well, in the words of that old Prince song, forever is a mighty long time. And as we're seeing now from all the Eli bashing, those Eli chickens are now coming home to roost. You've been around both Eric Decker and Tim Tebow. Who's the more handsome man, do you think?
I'm going to go with Decker. I don't really have a good reason for that, but I don't know. I sense a bit more manliness from Decker than I do Tebow. Maybe that'll get me in trouble.
You guys got married several years ago at home plate at Yankee Stadium. First ones ever. Still the only ones, I believe?
The only ones, right?
Had to get permission from?
Mr. Steinbrenner.
Mr. Steinbrenner, that would be George M., by the way. And then there is steroids testing being done of student athletes here in New Jersey, but you'd like to see it increase.
I certainly would. We're doing 500 student athletes a year. Only during the championship season. I think surveys have showed that the increase in steroids is taking place.
Better late than never. We're joined now by Rutgers head football coach Kyle Flood. Coach, good evening.
Good evening. How we doing?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us. On the line a little bit late, I hope, because you were busy signing a big recruit, maybe?
Oh, we actually just finishing up a team meeting.
In fact, we just got another tweet right now from the fake Kyle Flood folks. And he has tweeted the following. He says, "Listen, I was already making $950, close to $1 million. Nobody's passing around the collection plate, okay?" That video shows us, however he may be away from this incident at other times, it shows us what a dangerous guy and what a bad guy Ray Rice can be. He not only punched his wife dead in the face, but then he dragged her on the ground and left her there like a rag doll. Marty Brodeur, a man you played close to, of course, for so many years, hoisting cups over your respective heads in New Jersey. First year without Marty, and what's that going to be like for this team?
Well, as they say, all great things come to an end.
So with a packed house expected for Rutgers Penn State, you're the PA announcer at the stadium. If anyone needs to spill over from the crowd, standing room only, and kind of squeeze in next to you in the public address booth, you got room in there or no?
No.
No. Okay. Fair answer.
Gary Weber, who went on to be a dentist, I believe, was the big gun for Matawan, and under Barry Rizzo, who ran the single wing.
How many fillings did he do, Tony? Do we have that stat on hand or no?
A couple of crowns he threw in there as well, I think.
National champions in the house, members of the Robbinsville Little League National Championship softball squad, the only coach in the 22-year history of Monmouth football. What's that like to be the only guy? There's no one to compare you to. You're incomparable, Ken.
That just means I'm getting older, Joey. I think that's what that means.
I've been to these events, Ryan, and when you're, an average height, very pale white guy like me, you go out on the beach for one of these events, you've got tall, toned, right? Bronzed people that, look like they're out of a magazine. Did you feel part of that scene right away because you were tall, or being you were coming from a different sport, did it take a little time to feel accepted?
It definitely took a little time for me to become a volleyball player.
We want to show this photo. I believe we have it ready. Chris tweeting a photo of himself voicing one of his taped WFAN Jet reports, voicing it in a closet and pointing out in the tweet that he gets better sound quality. That you mean to tell me, look, Presty, a rich kid like you from Marlboro, that you don't have more professional equipment by now set up in that place of yours?
Hey, listen, you know better than anyone else, being a WFAN employee, that part-time WFAN employee and rich don't really belong in the same sentence.
I'm pretty active during these games. I am hustling. But I would love to have you as our guest.
I'll tell you what, if you get me in the suite, I'll keep things warm while you're making the rounds. And when you come on back, we'll chat when you have time.
All right, that's done. I'm going to hook it up with your producer.
This road trip you had a year ago where you set out to visit every NFL stadium in a single year. I know that you say you spent, if my math is right, adding up your different figures in the book, you spent about $15,000. You drove about 20,000 miles in your car because you did not fly, and you visited 38 out of 48 states. And I know the question myself and my staff are all wondering first and foremost is why, Sean?
Why not?
Ralph Friedgen, the new offensive coordinator, he's been a big story, a big favorite of the guys that cover the team because he was a big hit at your media day here in Jersey about a week ago. You went after him not once, Kyle, but twice to lure him out of retirement. And I thought Ralph had a great line at your media day. He was asked why he finally came out of retirement to work for you, and he said, well, basically my wife agreed to marry me for better or for worse, but not for lunch. She basically kicked Ralph out of the house, and that's to your benefit now, right? What kind of an impact is he going to make?
I think there's a lot of coaches' wives that probably feel the same way, and maybe even mine as well.
You know what my favorite thing was about Joe Paterno? Did he not have the greatest head of hair ever for a man his age?
Yes, and I hope it's genetic.
I'm sure you do. You've been mythical national champions not once but twice in recent years. Why are you so upfront about saying, yeah, we are very much looking to do that?
Well, that's, I owe it to the kids in the program.
Joetta Clark-Diggs, four-time Olympic runner, and even though you've been out of the game for a while, if you took your shoes off right now, we went out and had a race, you could still kick my butt. Right?
Is that right? Okay.